What up, guys? Welcome back for another beer review. It's been a little while. I've been on the road. I'm in Lima, Peru right now, and I'll be here for a couple months. And I want to just dive right into the world of beer here in Peru. And there's a lot of craft beer that's just kind of popping up around here, which is fantastic. And so yeah, a lot of the content I'll be putting out from here on out, the next little bit will be all Peru stuff. And I have some kind of bigger chain beers that I'll be doing, but this next one, sorry, this is like a random flute dude wandering around. This normally doesn't happen where I'm at, but so enjoy the ambiance. But anyways, the beer I wanted to try out is a Christmas seasonal ale. It's called Zenith. Here we go. This is a very nice, slick labeling, and it's a Zenith artisanal beer out of Cusco. That's where you go if you're gonna do the Machu Picchu kind of stuff. And so yeah, Christmas ale. It is 8% ABV, 22 IBU, and if it says anything else about the beer, oh, it does have ingredients, but it's hard for me to read some of it. I'm still working on my Spanish, and some of the beer ingredient words haven't been covered in my Spanish lessons yet. So, yeah. But anyways, who cares about that? What did I do with mine? Here we go. So let's just crack this sucker open and get a pouring. I'm kind of limited to my glasses for where I'm at, so we're just gonna pour that. Oh man, that looks like a Christmas ale. So I want that sit for a little bit. I mean, that is nice. That's a nice pour. And yeah, again, there's a little story about it. I see that it says to enjoy during a party with family and friends. It's with chocolate and do special selection for Christmas. Yeah, ideal for drinking during a party with family and friends, basically. And so yeah, this is made out of Cusco. I have not had this before. Very pumped for it. I was gifted it by somebody for my birthday here. Funny, been here a month. People already know what I like. Get them new beer. So, but anyways, let's get into this review. Get into the smell. Oh man, there is it has almost an Oktoberfest mashup with a spiced seasonal ale. There's a spiced aroma to it, and if you know me and my search for Christmas beers every year, I'm always looking for that beer that tastes like the holidays. It's got the nutmeg and the cinnamon and the clove and all that kind of stuff. It tastes like the holidays. And of late, a lot of the holiday beers are kind of like cask aged and really dark and heavy. And so I think it's kind of one of those things where I'm always looking for that beer that reminds me of when I kind of really first got into the Christmas seasonal beers, ages ago. And we all kind of like to replicate those early beers that we really fell in love with when we were discovering beer. And so I'm kind of always looking on the lookout for that. This has some of that spiced aspect to it. But you can smell the maltiness. It has a very grainy, almost like you took a banana bread. It has kind of a malted banana bread thing, but you also had like some like raisins or something in that banana bread. It's got a bit of that kind of aroma to it. Where the bread's got that nice kind of banana-y flavor, but the crust has a little more of that sweeter cinnamon or the sweeter like glaze on it. That's kind of what I got going here. There's a lot of those. I mean, you can kind of find them in the States. but it's not really a fruit cake, but it's almost like a muffin, and there's little bits of either chocolate or raisins or some kind of fruity thing in the cake. And they got them in big ones around here, and also like the individual ones. I don't remember what they're called, but they are everywhere. They, like, in the States, you have the tins of the Christmas cookies and the popcorn and stuff like that. It's like you replace all of that with these kind of muffiny, sweet cake things. And if you know what I'm talking about, it's got a bit of that aroma. But if you don't, just kind of picture the banana bread with some sweetness and some raisin aspect going on. There is a hint of a dark chocolate. The chocolate I don't think is sweet, and there is like a nice ground coffee along to it. It has a bit of a stout almost aspect to it. There's a lot of things going on with this. I really like the smell. It's very interesting. I hope the taste is as complex as this, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up on taste. I mean, on aroma. Let's get into the taste. Man, I feel like it got darker as I was holding it. Oh yeah, there's a lot of things. This reminds me of a Belgian seasonal Christmas ale. It really has that kind of taste to it. The sweetness, that's kind of muted now. But you have that dark, subtle dark chocolate. It's not overwhelmingly, but it's got a bit of that dark chocolate bitterness to it. And I think that's also part of like the malt profile, where it's very, you get that on the tip of your tongue, that chocolate kind of toasted aspect to it. And it's again, the chocolate aspect is lighter. It's not super heavy, which is good for me. Sometimes the black or the dark chocolate can be just overwhelmingly bitter. But it's kind of like a dark chocolate, subtle, meets barley wine. Very Belgian Christmas ale. There is a hint of sweetness to it, but it's not that banana bread or thing that I was picking up in the aroma. It's more of like a subtle orange, a zest to it almost. I don't know. Do they still make those? Remember the chocolate that came in the shape of like an orange, and you'd like kind of tap it on the table, whatever, and it split apart like different like orange slices. I don't know if they still make those, but it has a mostly dark chocolate, very subtle or orange sweetness to it, and there's a spice to it, minimal. I'm gonna say maybe a hint of like a nutmeg or clove, not clove, a bit of a nutmeg in there. So not super pungent with the holiday spices. It doesn't have that kind of holiday spice that I would generally like this is what I'm looking for. But this is very enjoyable. It is when you think South American beer, you're definitely not thinking this. Not at all. You're thinking cheap horseshit, mass-produced lager that you drink it because that's the only thing that's there. That's what you're thinking of. This is not that. You would say this in the shelves at your local beer shop, and you wouldn't think twice. You wouldn't be like, well, damn, this is from Peru. You'd never think that. Although, God, I do. All of the labels I've seen in Peru for like the craft beer, fantastic. This has like that shimmer gold and red in the label. It's kind of hard to see because it's wet, but few cans. And none of them have that BS like bumper sticker thing on it. You know me and my labels. I like a good label. But this is good. This is not as crazy complex as I was assuming it was going to be, but it's still a very enjoyable, drinkable beer. It's 8% alcohol, so it's got a little bit of a kick to it. But yeah, again, this is very much, I feel like if you like Belgian style Christmas ales, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you can find this anywhere. I have no idea what the distribution is, but I'm assuming Cusco, Peru is not importing a lot of beers in the United States. Call me crazy, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. So yeah, I'm going to recommend it on taste. And also, sorry, the graphics, everything will be a little different. Everything, all my normal graphics and sound effects and everything are on an older computer, and I haven't been able to update it onto this system. So for a little while, we're going to be going with whatever I got going on right now. I don't even know yet, but you'll be seeing it as it's popping up. But the craft beer scene has really picked up. Last time I was here was 2017. Yeah, so 4 years ago exactly, pretty much. I was here last. And you could find some craft beers, but not many. And you can find some more. There's a few more craft breweries in the area. I mean, Lima is a big city. Depending on which numbers you're looking at for metro area, like it's like the second largest city in the Western Hemisphere behind Mexico City. Like it's bigger than New York. I think metro-wise it's not, but just city proper, I believe. Lima is bigger than New York City. I think that's how it goes. Once you start looking into the metro, then New York's bigger. But in other words, it's a big city, and so it's the craft beer is starting to come in, and and people are getting into it. It's not quite like the IPA craze, whatever. And speaking of that, I have an article coming out for Hop Culture in, I believe, January or February, and it's going to be focused on all the unique flavors of the craft beer here, because there's a lot of interesting flavors that you don't get. Like there's a lot of beers made with quinoa or coca, the stuff that you use to make cocaine. A lot of stuff that you don't use in the States. So I'll give a link out to that when it comes out. But anyways, next category is value for price. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea what it's cost. It was gifted to me, but beer is not expensive here. Even the craft stuff. I think the most expensive craft one I've found, excuse me, was a 4-pack for 25 sols. It was currently here, which would be 20, which would be a little more than $6 for a 4-pack of like the highest end craft beer. That's not bad. So I'm assuming at worst, this is probably about that. And a lot of beers I can end up buying for less than $2 a pop. Some of the more widely available beers I can buy for like really equivalent of like $1 a pop. So this one, I'm going to recommend it for value for price, just because if you're visiting, you can be like, that's not a bad price. So I'm going to recommend it for that. All right, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And this is where it gets interesting. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to categorize it. In terms of Peruvian beer, yes, absolutely. I've never had a Peruvian beer anywhere near this. Second, I would 100% put this into the Belgian Christmas ale category completely. It doesn't say that. I'm trying to read with my very basic Spanish. And yeah, they don't really categorize it as that, but if they were to slap on the label of Belgian Christmas ale, then it kind of tastes like a lot of the other ones you've had before. There's nothing necessarily truly unique in the Belgian beer space. That's kind of really hard to do, but it holds its own. Which, if someone were to tell you, like, this Peruvian beer is going to hold its own against Belgian Christmas ales, you'd be like, you're an idiot. Stop talking to me. This really does, though. And so I'm going to recommend it on distinction, just because it's way different from all Peruvian beers. It stands up against most other, Belgian Christmas ales, and I would take this above a lot of the American Christmas ales. So this is a very well done beer. phenomenal job. And I got to give props to the person that bought it for me for like, all right, they got me 4 different beers. It's 1 for 1 so far. So yeah, thumbs up on that. Next category is drinkability, and yeah, it is an 8% ABV, 22 again IBU, so it's not overly bitter. It's a very nice holiday beer. Of course, it's just, it's basically turning into summertime around here. So the sun's out, I don't see any clouds, it's getting really nice out. And normally when you think of this kind of beer in this area, in the United States, it's normally getting colder. So, but I think this, you can drink any time of year, unless it's just super balls hot out, then maybe you want something lighter. But in general, this is an excellent tasting beer, very nice. I will recommend it on drinkability. And last category is would I buy it again? And I feel kind of cheap. Yes, I will buy it again. And I feel kind of like odd being like the first Peruvian beer I've reviewed in this particular session. I'm giving the Two Dubes official stamp of approval. And granted, I kind of cut this ahead of a whole bunch of other beers. I just really wanted to try this out. Like I saw a Christmas sale, I'm like, that interests me tremendously. They don't really have as much of the seasonal beers that I've seen. But again, I got here in the middle of November. I'd be very interested to see if they have any Oktoberfest beers eventually. So yeah, this was a fantastic beer, very enjoyable. And so that's the review. I hope you guys enjoy some beer reviews from a different part of the world that you might not be able to get some of the beers. There's a handful of them that are going to be kind of mass produced. You can probably find them at import stores that I will do. But I always find it interesting going to some of these places and trying different beers from places that, you don't really think of when it comes to beer. And this one very much surprised me. So, yeah. Normally when you think of Peru, visiting Peru, it's kind of like, you got Machu Picchu, you got like Rainbow Mountain. That's kind of a newer thing. But a lot of the, Incan, stuff around the country, there's, a very historical base. So there's a lot of cool historical things to see. I would recommend coming to visit for the food, low key, like one of the best food countries in the world. So underrated. The country itself is smaller compared to so many other countries, but you don't think of Peru as something, it just doesn't come to mind. But if you look at there's an annual list of the top 50 restaurants in the world, it's redone every year. Peru and Lima and Copenhagen are the only 2 cities in the world that have 2 in the top 10. New York, Paris, Tokyo, they don't have any in the top 10. And Lima has 2. So it's very much a foodie city and very enjoyable. And, drink some local beer. But, so yeah, that is the review for the Zenith artisanal beer. I'm trying to think who makes it. I don't know. Cerveceria Zenith de Cusco. So maybe that's just what it's called. Zenith is the brewery as well. I don't know. I have to look it up. But anyways, that's the review. Like, subscribe, do that good stuff, and stay tuned. I'm gonna get a lot of these Peruvian beers coming up in the next couple days and weeks. I'm gonna get back into the posting stuff because I got some time. And so, anyways, for myself and for this Zenith limited edition artisanal beer. Navidad. Oh no, it's Zenith and it's their Navidad Ale. That's what it is. Okay, my bad. So the Zenith Navidad Ale out of Cusco. Take it easy.